Hello, everyone, and welcome back to class. I hope you had fun yesterday working with Tinkercad and building a wrench and that things went okay. As I messed with the program a bit more, I realized there's some things I could have been a little more clear with as we were going. But again, this is one of the challenges of trying to do this all online when I'm not doing it in real time with you guys, answering questions as they come up. But I think you guys are all good problem solvers, and hopefully you spent some time just kind of experimenting with things and hoping and figuring it out. I hope things went okay because you're capable of that. Anyway, so today we're going to dive back into Tinkercad. I'm going to show you a few more things, show you some things I probably shouldn't have shown you yesterday, but just to add to your foundation of skills, and then hopefully kind of take all that and just like our first project in Inventor, build a robot. Okay, so let's take a look and look back at Tinkercad. Okay, so here we're back on my main Tinkercad page. Hopefully you found yours okay. Ooh, look, a spaceship design challenge. I wonder what that is. We'll look at that later. Anyway, so we have all our designs, and you notice my wrench, it's called, what is that, Shiny Inari? It gives things weird, just made up names if you don't give a name yourself. So let's start off and just show you how to make a name. So let's create a new design. So here on our new design, it called this Ingenious Dupe up at the top. So I don't want that. You can just click it. And since we're going to make a robot today, let's name that Robot. There we go. Okay. So things I wanted to show you. First off, let's say we've got multiple shapes out here, and we don't need all of them. So how do we get rid of it? Anything that you click on, you can either press delete on your keyboard like this. So that was on my keyboard, or you can click it and go up to the trash can up here, and that's going to get rid of it. Other options that we have up here. So if I click on a shape, we've got copy, and we've got duplicate and repeat. I'm going to come back to this duplicate and repeat later because this is actually a good use of like rectangular pattern on Inventor. It's going to be a little similar to that. So that could be useful to make maybe buttons on your robot or something. But copy is nice because you can just hit copy and then that made paste show up. And look, I'm just pasting more of these boxes. Or of course, you can hit Control-C on your keyboard to copy and Control-V. You know how to copy and paste. So one thing I forgot to say yesterday, when we were selecting multiple shapes, I was using Shift on the keyboard to do so. You don't have to use Shift. You can actually click Highlight and Drag. So I can highlight multiple shapes and press Delete, and now they're gone. Pretty quick and easy. So I can also use that to join things. So maybe I make these all overlapping a bit, make interesting shape. I can highlight all of that. It's all selected and then go up here to group. And now it's all one weird shape. So for the most part, this program, it's interesting, as you know, because we don't have all the tools. We don't have fillet. We don't have dimension. We don't have revolve. We really just have to work with these 3D shapes and then subtracting 3D shapes from those shapes to do more. So one thing that could be a little tough is like, what if you want to chamfer something or add a fillet? So I'm going to try to show you how to do that really quick. And it's not necessarily quick and easy. So let's get rid of this. Let's say I've got this box and I want to add chamfers on the top of it. Really, all we're going to do is bring in another box and then use it to kind of like carve away at that. So let's say, let's rotate this at 45 degrees because that's generally what a chamfer is at. I can drag it in, and then let's say I want to chamfer this top edge. Then I'm going to drag that up so it's overlapping with that, and then maybe I can move it around a bit more. You can also use the keyboard. That's what I'm doing right now to move this. Sure. And I could change that to whole. So now when I group them, actually, hold on, before I group it, let's copy and paste this so I don't have to do it twice. So if I hit Control C, Control V, it gave me another box, and then I can move this box to the other side so I can like chamfer over there. And so I could then, let's say, Shift, click that one too, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Oops, this did not move the way I thought it would. Again, we're just doing a lot of experimenting with this. Instead, I need to click this red arrow or black arrow. Bring that down there. So it's kind of, like I said, using shapes to cut away shapes. Those are all whole. That's good. So if I highlight all of it now, group it, now I've got chamfers on there, which is not ideal. It's not perfect, but again, that's just an example of how we have to go about this. You have to get a little creative. So what about a fillet? A fillet's going to be a little tougher. So let's bring a box back in, and let's bring another box. So what I'm going to do is go over here to my shapes. Which one do I want? I got a round roof. Let's use round roof. So if I bring this in, I'm actually, this is going to take a few steps. Let's bring in a box because I'm going to cut away half of this round roof. Okay, so that looks like it's about halfway. So let's make this box a little longer, change it to whole, click both of them and group it. So now I've got this half circle thing. Now what I'm going to do is bring this half circle into this box. Let's make it a little longer. Okay, change that to whole, group them. Oops, forgot a step right there. Let's undo that. Let's bring that forward a little bit, or let's just pull this. Okay, now change it to whole, group it. So now this is missing a chunk, and we can shrink this down a bit just because, ooh, never mind, let's just leave it the way it is. And so now we can kind of use this. This is like a jig, a template, something we can bring in and use multiple times to put fillets on things. So for example, let's put the original back here. Let's copy and paste it. In case, I'm leaving this back here just in case I need to make another one in the future. So let's bring this in, and let's say I want to round this top corner of this box. So let's bring this up, and then you can kind of experiment with that. Maybe bring it back down a little bit. Change that to a whole, then join them. So not perfect, not the most ideal, but just an example showing you how we can mess around with this stuff. So today is going to be a big experimental day of you kind of just going through all the stuff on here, seeing how you can use it and manipulate it. Scribble's fun. Scribble. This allows us to make some more unique things than we ever could in Inventor. So let's say I write my name. So I drew that out. Then you go here to done. And so now we have a 3D shape of what I just drew. So you can do some cool things with that. You can manipulate the sizes. A whole bunch of fun stuff. Okay. So let's go ahead and clear these things out. I'll leave this one because I can still use that as a fillet at some point. So like I said, today we're going to build a robot. Let's dig in. Generally with our robots that we build on Inventor, we make them pretty square, but you've got multiple things you can work with, but let's just start off with our square. So this is going to be the main body of the robot. And in my case, let's make him pretty tall. Let's make it 30 millimeters tall. But then I also want it to be floating in the air because it's his body. I want legs to come down. So let's go 10 millimeters into the air. No, that's a little too, let's go a little higher. All right, that'll do. So it's floating in the air. Now, this is where it can get a little annoying with this program because it's like, how do I put a sketch on here to make this arm come out? And you can't really. Like, let's say I wanted to make an arm come out here. Your first thought would be, it's like, okay, I got to bring a box. I got to make it into a smaller box. Or I guess it'd be like this. And then I got to like drag it up and get it. I mean, that's not terrible, but that's also because I'm getting a little quicker with this program as I go. So you can actually make planes on things. So over here in the top right, we've got this work plane. You can also press, as you see there, the W comes up. You can press W to pull up a work plane. So I can click this and click this side of our robot. This is very similar to Inventor at this point. And so now anything I make automatically attaches to this vertical plane. So it's going to be right here on the side of him instead of on the ground and having to float up. So I think makes things a bit more convenient. And then as soon as you're done with this, you just go back to work plane and you click the floor and that puts it back. Pretty neat. So then I could just take this, I could use copy and paste and then just drag it over to the other side using my keypad. Pretty neat. And just going from there. So you would use the same principle for making a head, making legs, and then using holes to cut things out as you go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to show you how to use this duplicate and repeat. Like I said, this is kind of like a pattern. So let's say I want to make a bunch of buttons here. So I'm going to go to work plane, put it here on its chest. I'm going to make a box that's too big. So let's shrink that way down. Let's do 3 by 3. That works. Looking straight at it. Ooh, remember, we can hit this button over here to make our view a little more straight on. I like that a lot better. Oh my gosh. Are you struggling with this navigation as much as I am? Anyway, so let's say we got a button right there. And I want to cut this out, so let's make it go back inside of him a little bit. So back like there, change it to whole. But before I combine this or group it with my robot, let's look straight at him again. I'm going to go to duplicate and repeat. And what that did is it made a copy that I can then drag over. And so now it noticed how far I dragged that over. So the next time I hit it, it does the same thing. It brings it over that far. So I can just click it a bunch of times and it will repeat that. Now that's not perfectly spaced. If I add another one, that's not ideal. But then now I could highlight all, oops. Let's not do that. All right, I'll use Shift. So I'm using Shift to click all those. And then I'm going to go to duplicate and then bring them down about there and then do the same thing. Patterning things out. Pretty nifty. So then from there, let's take this plane, put it back on the floor. I can highlight all of this. I can go to group. And now all these holes are part of it. Just like that. So the major downside with grouping things into one giant object is this one object now can only be this one color. So if you group your entire robot together, you can only color the whole thing at once, which is not great. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm still learning this program. Maybe you can figure out a way to do it that I could not. Now, with that, there are a few more options over here on the right of shapes that you could be using. Right now, it's just set to basic shapes. Let's go ahead and look through that list. We got text and numbers, pretty straightforward. Characters. So here we've got some pre-built shapes that you could add to your robot. I don't care, you can use most of these, but the one you cannot use is the robot. Because then you would be done. So let's not use this big robot. Let's delete him. We got a chicken foot. Ooh, let's give my robot a chicken foot. There we go. That's a good looking robot. Anyway, so experiment with that. Oh, there's a mustache. All right. We got connectors. Some of these are more like hardware things that you wouldn't actually use. But yeah, take a look at that. So there you have it. There's a few more basics. Really, today's just a more of an experimental day to try to teach yourself a bit and kind of see what we've got in the program that you can work with. So just for fun, my camera here, or my screen record, it records for 15 minutes at a time. So I'm going to spend the rest of the 15 minutes building myself a robot and see how well it comes out. Hopefully it comes out pretty well, but who knows? You, on the other hand, I want to spend more than 15 minutes. So this is going to be your work for today and for tomorrow, to be using the program each day. I don't want you to get the whole thing done today because I want you to spread it out, spend more than one day working on this. But more specifically, get on to Google Classroom. You've already been there. That's how you found this link. Go read the directions very carefully. Make sure all this week you're reading the directions very clearly, because that will be good for me, good for you. Cool? All right. So let's watch me build a robot in fast motion. Okay, there you go. A pretty cool looking robot. So hopefully that inspires you. Go ahead and see what you can do yourself. Good luck.